She's been called an extraordinary talent. Passionate, versatile, vibrant, and engaging. Mezzo-soprano Jessica Ann Best may be Rochester born and bred, but her musical gifts are celebrated nationwide. From New York City to Savannah, the local talent travels the country sharing her unique sound, described as crossing operatic, musical theater, and concert stage. This fall, Best will be joining the group Velvet Caravan for a special musical performance at Nazareth College. Joining me in the studio to share the story behind the music is the artist herself. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So first, for people who don't know, what is a mezzo-soprano? They might hear that and they might say, they might not be able to connect. What does that mean?
Great question. We get asked that a lot. So mezzo means middle in Italian. So it's the middle voice, and then soprano. So I'm a lower soprano, in the most plain terms.
So of all the many musical genres that exist in our world, tell me what it was about opera and classical singing that called to you, that was a natural fit for you at an early age, because you got started young.
I did. I grew up in a very musical family, and so classical music was always on. WXXI was always on in our home, still is always on. And when I was 8, I started singing with the Eastman Bach Children's Chorus, which is now at Nazareth, and I loved this music, and I grew up singing Bach, singing Vivaldi, singing Mozart. And when I was about 12 years old, this voice was a little bit more developed than maybe a normal 12-year-olds would be. And we thought, well, what do we do with this? And I always was in love with Barbra Streisand, and then coming from the same town as Renee Fleming, I thought, I'm really going to start to listen to this more. And it just became part of who I was, and I started immediately taking private lessons and studying with her mom, Patricia Alexander, at the Eastman School. So, yeah.
Well, I want to first, because we've got this clip, and I don't want to hold back any longer. So we caught up with you at a practice session last week. So we've got a short clip for viewers, and this is Habanera from the opera Carmen. So let's take a look. Jessica, your singing has been described as crossing operatic, musical theater, and concert stage, and then you'll be performing with groups like Velvet Caravan, which has been described as gypsy jazz, honky tonk, and swing. So I'm curious as to how challenging it is for you to journey and your voice to travel to all these different types of genres.
Yeah, you know, if you have good bel canto technique, you can, it's like using primary colors. You have, you know, yellow, red, and blue, and when you mix them together properly, you know how to get a magenta, how to get a green, and so that is really your breath support and how you use your body. And then if we really get technical, it's tongue position. Operatic tongue position is a little bit different than musical theater, the resonance, the mouth resonance versus the operatic. Obviously in opera, we're using our bodies to make all of the sonority, and in musical theater or in pop we can rely on a microphone, so we use a little bit smaller part of the embouchure. So if you know the right tools, you can cross over, but you also have to know the history of all the sounds. So when I'm singing an opera, I know that I require a specific sound for that particular opera, for that particular period in music. And when I'm doing jazz, I really try to sound like a saxophone or a trumpet. I try to understand what the instrumentation is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to know, after all these years of singing and performing, what goes into maintaining your voice? And I'm curious because I've read things like there's a special diet for singers and you can't have dairy or caffeine or this or that or spicy food before a performance. So are there lots of things to take into consideration to keep this taken care of?
Absolutely. As a teacher and as a performer, I always say you only get one life, you get one instrument, so you need to take care of that temple. And so a lot of water, so much water. I love coffee and I'm not going to give it up, so I have to always be hydrated after that. And yes, many of us struggle with acid reflux, so you stay away from things that are spicy, from tomatoes, from anything that's going to cause more of that acid in your body. So you have to balance. I eat a lot of watermelon and cucumbers to like balance that out. And also you want to be strong. So sometimes before I'm singing, I'm going to eat a meal that's a lot of protein, a lot of vegetables, and maybe rice or potato, so that I have the energy to perform. And that varies from singer to singer. And then the most important thing, I think, is sleep. Yeah. So, once again, it's like being an Olympic athlete. You need to make sure that you're taking care of your full body. So what you do every day and the day before affects your voice at that point.
Jessica, talk to me about, because you have said music is this universal language, and you've explained, and I've talked with you before about the gift of music. You said it's a way to see cultures connect. It's a way to teach people about the past, the present, and what we can expect moving forward. Explain that a little bit more for me and why you believe that way.
I think it's the most wonderful gift to be a musician, but for everybody to experience music, everyone can go to a performance of, let's say, Beethoven's Ninth, which is about brotherhood. And all of these instrumentation, all of the orchestra sitting there playing something specific. Every instrument is designed to function a specific way. And then together they make this sonority, this harmony together. And they're playing together, they're breathing together. The singers, the soloists, the choir, everyone's doing something at once, but yet all of their differences are celebrated. And all around the world, we can tune to an A and we can play a piece that every single country could understand, and every person might have a different feeling and a sentiment for that. So it is the universal language. And Leonard Bernstein, who is one of my favorite, composers and conductors, he's always talking about, and he's of course passed, but he's always said that the artists are the ones that are going to make the difference in the world. When it's violence, it's how we care for people, it's how we bring hope to humanity and bring beauty to a world that is in desperate need of it. And so the dreamers, the doers, the thinkers, it's the artists, the musicians that have the ability to bring hope and bring life.
I read a review that stated that when you sing, it's as though you are singing and connecting directly with the individuals in your audience. And I want to know, is that a goal for you when you take the stage to create that type of a connection? And what type of an impact do you want to leave on your audience?
Absolutely. I love making sure that it's an individual connection. If it's 3,000 people, if I'm singing to 2 people in a small chamber room, whatever, if it's the audition space, my goal is to bring truth and honesty to my art in that moment. So again, and then you can use it as, you don't know what that person is feeling on the other side, what's happened to them that day, and what's happened to you that day. So if you're having a great day, but someone else isn't, then you're able to portray that. But if you're not, you get to drop in and make that honest truth and sing and really bring all of your emotions to exactly what you do. And that's a really special gift and a special career to have. And yeah, I really hope that my audience is always impacted by just the beauty of the art.
You have an absolutely incredible voice, and I thank you so much for being here and for joining us. So a special thank you to my guests, Jessica and Bess, for your time today. Be sure to check out Jessica's guest appearance. She'll be with the musical group Velvet Caravan. That is on October 13th at 8 p.m. at the new Glazer Music Performance Center at Nazareth College. And that new performance venue happens to be opening this weekend. You can learn more about Jessica, her music, and her upcoming performances at jessicaandbest.com.